In today's video, I'm going to review for you the Anthemy Backlight Butterfly Palette. Anthemy is a, for me, unknown Asian beauty brand that's fairly new on lookhealthystore.com, where you, by the way, can save 12% with my code ELLAGRAM. Thank you so much to everybody who used this code constantly. This palette was... I kind of wanted to try this, then I wanted not, then I wanted not. I was very indecisive, but I eventually ended up getting this palette, and today I will show you 2 looks. Spoiler alert, I wanted to do 3 looks in the beginning, but I'm not feeling it. So I don't want to tell you too much about the ending, because of course I want you to watch the video until the very end. But before we head into the looks, let's do swatches. I have not prepped any swatch sticker things, so we do live swatches. And we're starting off with the first 3 or 4. Yeah, let's make 4. The first 4 shades in this palette. So we have a very light lilac, a creamy looking silver with a purple shift, a pink, and a nice light blue. Then let's do the next shades. Classic purple, a bit of a cool tone smoky purple, a very dimensional color with a transparent base, and whatever this is. Turquoise, teal, no more turquoise, but it's ugly. Honestly, it is an ugly shade, at least in this palette. I don't think that this shade really matches in this palette. I know what they were going for, I see what they were going for, but it did not fit the mood. Honestly. Then we have this beautiful shade. Then this shade that actually looks here in the swatch like an oxblood, but spoiler alert, in the first look I used this. This turns into a vibrant magenta on the eye. Then a very dimensional shimmer. That's actually really pretty. And a dark, I don't know, night blue that is ultra patchy actually. So here you have a look of the swatches on my arm with the camera. And I also put up a video that I did with my phone and flashlight. Maybe that's also helpful for you. When I look at the swatches, I see the picture, but spoiler number 3, it does not work on the eyes. So without any further rambling, without any further me just fucking about this palette, let's head over to the tutorial potions. I'm starting this look by tapping into the light pink and use this as my transition color. I then go into this rusty, dark, warm red, and I use this here on the outer V and bring this also through the crease. Glitter glue is down, and now I go into this fiery reddish green shifty shade. One I apply on the outer part of the lid. And I actually take this all the way across the lid, but I leave the most inner part of the lid bare. Lower lash line, I'm starting with the Colourpop Cream BFF liner in Plum Smash. And that one I apply on the waterline. That whole look is not as reddish as I anticipated it to be, which is a bit annoying. But I'm tapping back into this rusty color that is apparently more pink than red. I smudged this here across the lash line. I really thought in the pan that this is a rusty red, but it's actually just a very dark reddish purple. I also tap back into the pink and I just soften the outsides here a bit. Today is a really bad makeup day. Not only do I hate my eye look, I also fucked up the highlighter because the product I was using was the worst I have ever seen. It's I think you already saw it in the reels. It's the Joycey, whatever, the Jelly Diamond highlighters. They are, I have a big texture problem with them. But I now tap into that super light shimmery shade that I assume is a transparent base with a purple or pinky shift. And I tap this on here as inner corner. And of course I was right. And I also fill in that remaining bare part here on the lid. And then I just swipe it across the other shade so that we have a connection inner corner lid thing. I have been digging doing this lately. I like the way this looks when the inner corner or the lid area is just going seamless into the inner corner. But I just should have used a different brush for this. Well, joke's on me here. It's a bad makeup day already, so let's make it worse. And here you have now the finished look. For the lips, I used the Sephora lip stain liner in the shade Pink Soufflé, and I topped it off with the House Labs PhD lip glaze in Macaron. I'm not digging this first look. I don't know if this is because of the palette, but I assume it is because of everything. I do not like the way my makeup looks today. I do not like that highlighter incident. Everything is kind of dry and weird today. It's just not my perfect makeup day. So I do not want to judge this palette before that. That's why we do multiple looks always. But what I want to say straight away that I am a bit disappointed in the fact how different this shade just looks applied. And it had nothing to do with the pinky shade that's underneath. You saw it also when I applied it directly on the under eye. It just turned immediately into this weird pinky purple instead of being a ox bloody shade. I mean, the look itself is very pretty, but it's not what I wanted and it's not what I expected. So yeah, let's just right away move to look number 2. For the second look, I'm going right away into that deep midnight blue here. And I place this directly here on the outer third. And then I slightly blend it up and out. Next up, I go into the purple. Apply this in the crease and I blend it left and right and a bit on top of that blue here. I now go into that light lilac shade here. And that one I start to blend in the inner crease part. And then I am following that crease line, but a tad bit above so that it's more like in the transition area. I use that to blend out the edges. So basically I apply that in the inner crease part, and then I draw the line above the crease to create a soft blend. I now go into this very chromy third shade in the second row. And I start to apply this here in the center. And then I tap it outwards on top of the darker shades. And whatever is left, I apply towards the inner part. I'm now going into that very intense silver. And that one I apply on the bare part basically. And then I tap it towards the bluey shifty shade. I also tap back into the shifty shade and I just tap a couple times here on top of where both meet so that we have a better blend. I'm lining the lower waterline with the Colourpop BFF Cream Gel Liner in Outer Space. And I smudge that out with that dark blue that I used in the beginning of the look. I now go into that more cool toned purple up here. With this shade, I just smudge it and grunge it out a bit more. I also tapped into that super light lilac and I just smooth it out a bit. I'm tapping into that silvery shade again here, and that one I use for my inner corner highlight, and then I connect it with the lid. And this is now the second finished look, and I forgot, of course, as always, my brow bone highlight, so let's do this right now. I use the same shade as I did for the inner corner and inner lid part. That very glittery one, that's actually a very pretty shade. On the lips I'm wearing a Charlotte Tilbury lip liner in the shade Super Size Me, and I filled the lip completely in, and then I topped it off with one of my favorite lipsticks, Pillow Talk Fair in the Kissing formula. I love the Kissing formula from Charlotte Tilbury. I think it's so much better than their fucking matte. That's so dry. But, okay, initially I planned to do 3 looks for this video, but not gonna lie, I'm not feeling it. This palette gives me zero joy, and while I do like this look much more than I did the pink one, there is just something about this palette that is putting me off. I'm not feeling it, I'm not that excited. I look at it and I think like, huh, that's a very pretty palette. But then I use it and I'm like, huh, that's a very annoying palette. And I don't know if you can tell here, I try to put a photo up here too, but Directly in the crease, I always go through the crease a couple times, especially after shimmer, to just distribute the shimmers a bit so that I do not have like a super harsh cut crease on that part. I like that cut crease part more on the inner part, but not here. So I go through the crease, usually with a brush that has no additional pigment on, and it rubbed everything off. The pigment lifted. Then I went in with more pigment. Then I covered the shimmer. Then I went in with a brush and no pigment. Then it got lifted again. The palette, no. From my side, absolute no. I think a couple of these formulations here are pretty interesting. Like this one, very interesting shade, and this is very dimensional. It's super hard to capture the real look on camera, because when I look in the palette like this, it looks like a copper. When I look like this in the palette, it's pink, and when I look like this, it's green. So there is a lot of dimension going on. These blues here look nice, the other shimmer is very pretty, but I think it's just the composition of mattes that is throwing me off a lot, because everything at the end will turn pink or blue, even if you use this shade. Does not make a difference. While I love the artwork and I love the thought behind this and the overall color story, this palette does not convince me to try anything else from Anthemy, honestly. Let me know down below, did you try this palette too? What do you think about the looks? Am I maybe exaggerating my feelings? Am I not? Is it because I'm about to get my period? I don't know, maybe I'm a bit emotional. So let me know down below, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out any cool videos. And if you do not have an opinion on this palette, or you do not want to rank any looks, but you just want to push the algorithm, comment butterfly. So thank you as always, and I'll see you in the next one.